This is an underrated martial arts film that showcases various cold weapon combat skills. It also portrays the complexities of Chinese society and interpersonal relationships.
这道疤，我留的，是你这辈子的荣耀。
Welcome to Oriental Frames. The story begins with a man proposing to a woman.
我娶你，我在天津住3年。
然后呢？
跟我回广东。不愿去，留给你一笔钱。
多少？
可以谈。
However, the woman remains unmoved, turning to leave. She is not a noble maiden but an unwanted rogue. At the age of 18, she gave birth to a foreigner's child against her parents' wishes. But the foreigner who had tired of her discarded her and married someone else. Her child was drowned by her parents, her reputation was tarnished, and to this day no one has married her. Yet it was this fallen woman that Chen Shi chose to marry. He wanted to marry a bad woman. Under the guarantee of a highly respected matchmaker and a generous dowry, she agreed to marry Chen Shi. As Chen Shi boarded the carriage and raised his glass, he laid down the ground rules.
我在天津做的事，不要问，猜到了，不要说。
The woman also put forward her demands to Chen Shi. When he saw the woman's bad habit of smoking, Chen Shi simply said indifferently, "It's fine." He felt she wouldn't be a big loss even if she died. Therefore, Chen Shi's intention in marrying the woman was not to start a family. So why would he marry such a woman? As it turns out, Chen Shi is a true disciple of Wing Chun, and he came here to open a martial arts school in Tianjin, but the people of Tianjin do not welcome outsiders. The people of Tianjin only accept their own, and a Tianjin disciple must challenge and defeat 10 local martial arts schools. By the time the 8th martial arts school has invited an unbeatable master to secure a decisive victory, the reputation of this school is preserved. The master is able to establish a foothold, but the disciple can never return to Tianjin after that. These are the rules of the Tianjin martial arts world, and the unbeatable master in front of us, Master Zhang, he seeks to gain fame with this battle and then retire peacefully. Marrying this woman and living in the slums was merely a smokescreen by Chen Shi. He didn't want the Tianjin martial arts community to discover his real purpose of opening a martial arts school. If exposed, the martial arts community would certainly retaliate against a woman of dubious character. Her death would not be a big loss. And the bad disciple soon came knocking. One day, because the woman was dressed too attractively, a group of ruffians targeted them and a fight broke out. But none of them were a match for Chen Shi, and they were all defeated in one round. Then, 2 young men barged into Chen Shi's house. Their mouths spoke of a boxing match. But their eyes were fixated on the woman all along. Knowing that he couldn't beat Chen Shi in hand-to-hand combat, the young men proposed a knife fight. Upon hearing this, Chen Shi gave a rare smile, signaled the young men to wait, and fetched the 8 chopping knives from the room. Compared to his fist technique, Chen Shi's 8 chopping knives technique was an unrivaled skill in the martial arts world. In 5 rounds, Chen Shi only used 1 knife stroke each time, each one aimed at the young man's vital points. It wasn't that the young man's martial arts were too weak, rather Chen Shi had detected his extraordinary talent, and that's why each knife stroke was lethal. Only by seeing the gap could the young man willingly become his disciple. Having talent is suitable for challenging martial arts schools. What's more suitable is that the young man's purpose for coming here was impure. He was a villain, and the death of a villain is not a big loss.
你收的徒弟，看我的眼神不正，是个小人。
练拳后，我就不敢看你了。
Just for a glimpse of the woman, Geng Liangchen agreed to learn martial arts. Although his motive for joining was not pure, he happened to be a prodigy. After disciple Geng Liangchen began practicing martial arts, he no longer worked as a porter doing physical labor. Others need 3 years of hard work to master it. He grasped the essence in 1 year, and astonishingly, he was able to challenge the martial arts schools in 2 years.
师傅，去吧，你强过我当年。
The first stop was a competition of slanting knife and rubbing hands. This is the signature skill of the Tianjin martial arts world. Although it has declined in recent years, it's still not to be underestimated. The two of them held a knife in both hands, engaged in close combat, slanting knife and rubbing hands. It seems like it's a competition of knife skills, but the body movement is even more important. To win, one must understand the principle of using softness to overcome hardness. There's a rule in Tianjin: regardless of winning or losing, the martial arts school must invite the challenger to a meal. Geng Chen is irreverent. He refused to join the sumptuous feast, arbitrarily changing the venue to a small street stall. This certainly caused quite the embarrassment for the heavyweights of the Tianjin martial arts community. After witnessing Geng's skills, even Master Zhang, a grandmaster in the martial arts world, began to feel the pressure. As he aged, his reflexes naturally became slower. This was his last battle. In order to avoid any surprises during the duel, he put aside his pride, bowed his head, and respectfully asked the younger Chen Shi to become his teacher. Chen Shi then imparted all his martial arts skills to Master Zhang. Up to this point, Chen Shi has used up his only 2 spots to pass on his true martial arts skills. Even if he sets up a martial arts school in the future, what he will teach will be fake Kungfu, just a way to scam people's money. Once, while out shopping, Chen Shi wanted to buy a puppy as a gift for the woman. Unexpectedly, she turned around and ran off, her wallet snatched by a pickpocket in the process. After a lengthy chase into a narrow alley, she was surrounded by a group of burly men who were about to lay their hands on her when Chen Shi arrived in the nick of time. With a series of basic combination moves, a group of men immediately fell to the ground. Only their leader was left standing. Seeing that he was about to escape, Chen Shi decided not to stop him.
你等着，
你能叫来多少人
几百人
？20个，有没有？
有。
我等着。
Before you could bat an eye, a mob of about 20 folks, each wielding a bamboo stick, had set up a blockade in the alleyway. Chen Shi, cool as a cucumber, shifted a stool for his wife and began to brandish a bamboo pole, displaying his 6.5-point pole technique. He took down one of them to begin with, which sent the others into a flurry of retreats. With another swift move of his pole, jabbing at someone's throat, he stepped 3 strides forward, creating a safe distance between the scuffle and his wife. With one sweep of his pole, Chen Shi had dozens of men cowering. None dared to pick a fight. Nonchalantly, Chen Shi and his wife made their exit. On the way, this couple, who were nothing but strangers when they met and ended up as husband and wife, began to bare their hearts to each other. Having made a name for himself, Chen Shi was set on heading to Guangdong. His wife, however, held a firm belief that a lady from Tianjin never marries out. A year passed, and Geng Chen began his challenge against the 7th Martial Arts School. Geng Chen's fame had spread throughout the martial arts circles of Tianjin, and Chen Shi's existence was also discovered. As expected, the boss of the martial arts school, Ms. Zhou, came looking for them with her crew.
你徒弟提了7家馆，战绩非凡呢。
天津的年轻人，我管不了，后悔教他。
不是你的意思。
我有活干，有女人养，何苦招惹你们呀？
开了武馆，就开了财源。你女人漂亮，就不想让她过得好点儿？
你更漂亮，我不敢动一点心。
Chen Shi's words worked. Ms. Zhou, unable to decipher his intentions, got up to leave, instructing her men to spare his life. However, the disheartened mistress saw the whole picture. Marrying her was all for today. Living in slums, marrying a wife, they were all Chen Shi's covers to make people think he had no desire for worldly gains. The purpose was to use Geng Chen as a scapegoat, leveraging his disciple's life to establish a footing in Tianjin. Chen Shi, whose cover was ripped off by his wife, angrily pulled her into the inner room, locking her hands to control her. He warned her that she could leave, but must not tell Geng Chen anything that could disrupt his plans. She secretly found Geng Chen. She subtly warned him, Hearing these words, Geng Liangchen froze. Life was tough in Tianjin, his parents had passed away, and his relationship with his colleagues had broken down. Now, all he had left was his master and...
机灵点儿，觉得不对要知道逃。
Rather than waiting to be manipulated, he decided to take the initiative. Ms. Zhou agreed to his challenge. The fight was scheduled for the next day. She quickly found Master Zhang and asked him to come out of retirement to face Geng Liangchen. This was what Master Zhang had been plotting with Chen Shi. But he had one condition: if he won this battle against the Tianjin martial arts school, they must change the rules. Masters must teach their apprentices real Kung Fu, yet the martial arts school's bad traditions had been passed down for hundreds of years. Even though Master Zhang was the top fighter of the martial arts school for 30 years, he didn't have the confidence to break the tradition. A disciple of Mr. Zhang invited him to perform martial arts, his disciple the deputy commander of the provincial governor, who shows the utmost respect for Master Zhang. Master Zhang was indeed quite pleased, but he was unaware that this sparring match was an outright conspiracy, the first step for the army to take over the martial arts schools. During their match, the deputy commander sneak attacked Master Zhang, knocking him to the ground. By the time Master Zhang regained his senses, he had already lost his advantage, and coupled with the deputy commander's prime age and robust physique, Master Zhang, old and frail, lost after only a few moves. If it were a fight to the death, the deputy would have surely been defeated. But it seemed Master Zhang had realized something, and slowly, he released his grip and collapsed. All of this was also part of Ms. Zhou's scheme. Master Zhang, who had defended his reputation for 30 years, saw it vanish in an instant, only to be replaced by two houses. Master Zhang was too ashamed to face Chen Shi, and his planned match with Geng Liangchen was intended to build his reputation before retirement. Now, there was no need for the match. The martial arts school would handle the matter on their own. They sought out Chen Shi. Same time, Geng Liangchen was under siege, pinned down by over a dozen people. Chen Shi regretted his actions. Wanting to protect his disciple, he suggested that they leave Tianjin and never return, and people from the martial arts school forced Geng Liangchen into the car, but martial arts school's people soon couldn't hold him back. When the last person fell, the deputy officer stepped forward. His subordinate still had a short knife at Geng Liangchen, occupying both of his hands. The deputy officer took this opportunity to launch a surprise attack on him. It was clear that the deputy officer was a soldier, not a martial artist, and he did not follow the rules. In order to fulfill the agreement with the martial arts school, Geng Liangchen was taken to the suburbs by the deputy officer. Not far away was the church hospital, and the deputy officer cautioned him to move slowly. Geng Liangchen knew that he had been betrayed by his master, but he did not resent his master. He wanted to die in Tianjin, even if it cost him his life. He desperately crawled back to the city of Tianjin, just for a last glance at the girl he loved. He was full of regret, regretting his decision to learn martial arts and enduring the severe pain in his abdomen. He worked one last time as a footman. Despite his condition, after Geng Liangchen's death, Chen Shi fell ill with a sickness of the heart, burdened by his guilt. Chen Shi decided to avenge Geng Liangchen. He gave all his possessions to his wife, making a pact to meet at the train station in a day's time. If he could make it, they would retire together to the countryside. If he couldn't, she was to leave alone by train. The next day, at the opening ceremony of Chen Shi's martial arts school, the school's people played a film to celebrate, but the film showed the deputy attacking Master Zhang. Master Zhang was highly respected in the martial arts world. Seeing him being humiliated by his disciple, the people in the martial arts school were outraged, slamming the table and glaring at the deputy with fury. Fortunately, Ms. Zhou was there to explain for the deputy, which temporarily eased the conflict. The film continued to play, with Chen Shi holding blade, cutting through the film screen. His disciple's death was his demon. He vowed to avenge him. Chen Shi, holding the blade, stabbed at the deputy, but was blocked by Ms. Zhou with her body. With the persuasion of others, Chen Shi calmed down. He wept for his disciple's death. Suddenly, the people of the martial arts school seized the opportunity to pounce on Chen Shi, suppressing him beneath them, and gaining control over him. But in the darkness, someone passed a knife, which eventually ended up in Chen Shi's hand. Chen Shi then seized the opportunity to slash the deputy's neck with the knife. From the reactions of the people in the martial arts world, it was clear that they had premeditated this. Their goal was to prevent the military from taking over the martial arts world, and after killing the deputy, they would blame Chen Shi. Chen Shi understood this conspiracy, but in order to avenge his disciple, he had to take up this knife. He made a request to the martial arts world that before he died, he wanted to have a confrontation with a skilled practitioner from Tianjin. It would be a battle between the southern 8 chopping knives and the northern war-body knife. However, the place was too small, making it unsuitable for the full display of the 8 chopping knives skills. Chen Shi was quickly overpowered by several heavy battle body blades. With a short knife pressed against Chen Shi's neck, Ms. Zhou seemed determined to end his life. It looked like Chen Shi was about to meet his demise. At that moment, Chen Shi stated a condition that no one in the martial arts world could refuse. While facing opposition from the Tianjin martial arts community, Chen Shi's formidable skills were undeniable. His disciples' impressive feat of defeating 8 martial arts schools remained unmatched. However, he had no intention of showcasing his grandmaster prowess at this moment, as his plan was to retire with his wife. Consequently, he swiftly made his escape, darting out of the door and heading towards the train station. The martial artist pursued relentlessly, closing in on him, wielding an array of weapons to try and block his path. The grandmaster of martial arts was fleeing for his life, pursued by a group of skilled martial artists. The ensuing scene was the most thrilling in the movie, featuring a total of 9 different cold weapons in action. The first weapon to appear was the padao, a long knife with a faster blade and increased weight compared to an ordinary long knife. Its moves required a great force, even for Chen Shi, who needed both hands to wield it effectively. However, facing Chen Shi's 8 chopping knives, the padao proved to be utterly defenseless. The second weapon to appear was the UFA knife, belonging to the same category as the padao. It had a relatively straight blade, with the handle being as long as the blade itself. The UFA knife focused on using speed to overcome slow opponents, with its technique being sharp and fierce. Chen Shi's 8 chopping knives were even faster. He seized the opportunity and swiftly executed a series of moves, disarming his opponent and rendering him unconscious. The third weapon to appear was the 3-pointed 2-edged knife, a double-edged, triangular blade with hooks. It could be used as a long knife for chopping and stabbing, combining the advantages of both thickness and sharpness. However, he was unlucky as Chen Shi quickly closed in and disarmed him as soon as he made his move. The third contestants were 2 elderly men wielding the Xianhua, a double-edged axe. The Xianhua axe required strong waist and arm strength, and if not used properly, it could easily be countered by the opponent. Chen Shi effortlessly blocked the axe with his bare hands, and when the second strike came, he used his youthful strength to overpower the elderly men, causing him to drop his weapon and flee in desperation, holding hands with his companion. The fifth contestant wielded the oxtail knife, a unique blade hidden within the sleeve and attached to a loop, preventing Chen Shi from easily disarming him. Although his movements were agile and elusive, Chen Shi eventually found an opening, severed the blade, and knocked him unconscious. The sixth contestant wielded the two-handed sword, a dagger-like sword with the blade on one side only, designed for concealed attacks. Both fighters displayed swift and subtle techniques, and their blades clashed fiercely. They adopted a strategy of using calmness to control their movements. Resulting in a momentary standoff, the opponent lacked the composure of Chen Shi and made the first move, but Chen Shi quickly identified the weakness, intercepted his attack, and with two swift strikes, managed to knock him down. The scene was a bloody mess, with bodies of defeated opponents scattered all around. 6 consecutive challengers proved futile in halting Chen Shi's relentless advance. Just as things seemed dire, 2 figures rode in on bicycles from the end of the alley, accompanied by a disabled man wielding a pair of deer horn knives. He appeared to be the last inheritor of their martial arts section. The 7th challenger took on the persona of the Green Dragon Halberd, sporting a khaki suit with meticulously polished brown leather shoes. Hidden beneath the suave appearance, a short knife was concealed at his back. As Chen Shi brandished his 8 chopping knives and launched his attack, he soon realized that the Green Dragon Halberd's true threat lay within the short knife. Luckily, Chen Shi was prepared, deftly guarding his neck with one knife while stabbing the opponent's abdomen with the other, leaving the men in the suit collapsing to the ground. Next, an 8th challenger emerged, a disabled man wielding the deer horn knives, displaying aggressive moves. Although it's often said that unconventional weapons lead to swift defeat, this encounter proved to be an exception. Despite Chen Shi's vigilance, he still suffered a minor injury, the only one he sustained throughout the entire battle. Nonetheless, he quickly recognized the disabled man's limited mobility and skillfully used his knife to block the weapon while targeting the vulnerable areas, ultimately winning the round. The 2 combatants felt a sense of mutual admiration and understanding.
好功夫，好兵器。
The opponent even handed the deer horn knives to Chen Shi as a sign of respect. The 9th and final match featured the battle body knife. Its large blade could serve as both offense and defense, making it a formidable weapon. Chen Shi had been defeated by it before, however. This time, Chen Shi had prepared in advance and switched to the deer horn knives, which happened to be the battle body knife's weakness. With ease, he dispatched the first 3 masters, leaving only the Grandmaster of the battle body blade. The old Grandmaster's technique was exquisite. During the intense struggle with Chen Shi, he seamlessly combined offense and defense, using the knife as a shield and the shield as a knife. He perfectly integrated the attacks and defenses of the battle body knife and even gained the upper hand at times, pressing Chen Shi against the wall with the weight of the knife. The blade was pointed directly at Chen Shi's vital points. Fortunately, Chen Shi was still in his prime. he pushed away the knife with force, and then using the deer horn knives, he disarmed the Grandmaster of the battle body blade and defeated him, leaving behind a pair of deer horn knives as a symbol of his victory. Ms. Zhou, driven by the need to uphold the honor of the Tianjin martial arts school, reluctantly faced Chen Shi. However, she proved to be far from an honorable opponent. With a swift and precise strike, Chen Shi sliced off half of her earring. Luckily, he held back just in time, for a slightly deeper cut could have cost her life. As they stepped outside the main gate, a gun was pointed at Chen Shi from a distance of 10 paces. Chen Shi deftly dodged the bullet, swiftly locked the gun wielder's neck, and delivered a powerful blow that rendered his unconscious. With this, Chen Shi subdued all the remaining combatants in the martial arts academy who were still capable of putting up a fight. Finally, Chen Shi boarded the train bound for Guangdong. The deeper message conveyed by the master in this movie serves as a stark reminder that the more someone stresses adherence to rules, the more vigilant one should be. Beneath the veneer of nobility and order lies a lurking treachery. No voiceover can replicate the charm of the original film. A great movie deserves to be experienced in its full plot. Thank you for your watching and subscribing.